if people would just kind of switch the way they think, that like no matter what, things are going to work out for me, that's what happens. Like you dream it, you achieve it, and you go out there and you work for it. So I think mindset is everything.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Multifamily Monday. I'm Michael Oakes, and with me, as always, is my best friend and partner in crime, Paul Rodriguez. How we doing, sir?
Hey, if it's us versus them, who you think gonna win, bro? We're on top. I'm feeling good today. I appreciate it, as always. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about our mindset today.
Yeah, exactly what Paul just said. We're about to dive into mindset. But before we do that, don't forget, tune in Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays to Wise Investments Real Estate. We got different podcasts coming out every other day, basically, during the week. Mondays, Multifamily. Wednesdays, Owners Club Roundtable with 6 of us. It's a great time. Please tune into that one. It's really good. And Fridays for Financial Freedom Fridays. So we'd love to have you there. Leave some comments, subscribe, and let us know what we can talk about to help y'all out. But Paul, let's dive right into this mindset stuff, brother. Tell me, how important is it to you for mindset? I know you've talked about it over and over and over again, but tell us again, man. I love hearing it.
I would say it's arguably the most important thing, right? You can put yourself in great positions. You can network and meet all these great people. You can read all the books and watch the podcasts and do all the things that it takes to educate yourself in whatever space you're in. But if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe that the process can happen for you, that you can be the change, then everything is null and void. It doesn't mean anything, right? Because I could be standing next to Grant Cardone or a Pace Morby or any one of these amazing investors that have all these years of experience, and they could put me in such great positions. But if I'm just like, wow, I don't believe in myself, I have zero confidence, and I don't strike up a conversation with Uncle G or Pace, it's not going to go anywhere, right? And so I feel like a lot of times, if people would just kind of switch the way they think, that like no matter what, things are going to work out for me, that's what happens. Like you dream it, you achieve it, and you go out there and you work for it. So I think mindset is everything. I think it has to be the very first thing that you do whenever you want to become whatever your future self looks like. Like, you have to start reading the books that talk about mindset. And I think we got some great recommendations on that. Maybe that'll be in a future video. We'll do like a book drop, but mindset's everything, dude.
Absolutely, man. Like, I wake up every morning, I know you do this, but I do my manifestations. I talk to my voice journal. So that way, I get everything out of what I'm thinking, and it's documented. So that way I can build and grow and, find different ways to make my mindset, better. But it's not always easy. Excuse me. It's not always easy. Trust me. There's some dark moments that you got to really dig deep and stay true to what you've been preaching, because, it's one thing to practice it, but it's another thing to talk about it. You have to be able to follow it up if you're going to be out here talking to people about how they have to improve their mindset. And if you're not doing it yourself, why are you out here talking about it? But it's something that Paul and I are very passionate about, very, something we like to bring awareness to, so that way people can do it themselves. They don't have to use somebody else to change their future. But yeah, so one thing is, sticking to long-term goals for us. That's very important. So Paul, I know we talk a lot about our long-term goals, but let's talk about those again. Like, what are our goals? Where are we on track? Are we struggling? What's going on?
Yeah, so I think this ties in really well with my background in the military. I was always taught when there's an active shooter, you go direct to threat, meaning I'm listening where the shot's coming from and I'm going straight to them. I'm not looking in every little compartment in the house or in the building that I'm going in. I'm going direct to threat. And you have to be the same way when it comes to your goals, right? And so you have to be very disciplined in what you want to do because it's the fastest way to something is a straight line, right? So if you get diverted and you kind of get, we call it shiny object syndrome, where you're kind of like, okay, this has been working for me for a little bit, but I see this guy having success doing this other thing. Let me change everything I'm doing to replicate their process. And it's like, no, dude, you set out on a mission with a goal to accomplish something. And in our case, it's multifamily real estate. We want to invest in these big projects. We want to own them, and the only way to do that is just keep working towards it every day. So you have to be disciplined because the discipline is going to take you past where motivation can, right? I don't know about you guys, but like I've gotten motivated in the past where I'm super motivated at like 3 a.m. I'm like doing push-ups in my bedroom. I'm watching Andrew Tate. I'm getting all pumped up and trying to figure out how I'm going to accomplish all these lofty goals. And then, the next day rolls around and I sleep until noon and, I go out and I eat Burger King the next day. And it's like, dude, there's just so much fall off and so much inconsistency when you're not disciplined. Whereas when you're disciplined, it's like a routine. It becomes like, okay, no matter what, from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., I'm putting in an ungodly amount of work. I'm working towards my goals every day. And if you do that, you win, right? Derek Smith said it best. I'm going to beat you in the race not because I'm moving faster, but because I don't stop. I just keep taking one step in front of the other, and eventually I'm at my goal or my destination. So discipline is everything when it comes to your motivation. Motivation is great, right? You use the motivation to structure your discipline. And so I don't think motivation is a bad thing, but discipline is far more important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like there's always those like pictures and memes that you see out there of like the hot air balloons, where like talk about motivation and then, like it'll go up and then go down and then there's like consistent where it's just like staying the same flame and it's just like actively going up slowly. Sorry. So yeah, I completely agree with you, Paul. It's just about constant action. You don't have to be rushing to get it all done at one time. You can just take your time, get small wins that build to a big win over time. That it's all about instant gratification nowadays. You're not making money immediately. It doesn't work. Um, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen on the internet is that people try for like 3 months, like 3 weeks, whatever it is. For some reason, it's always like a 3 that people stop giving up or start giving up at. And then it just doesn't work for them. So they think it's just ridiculous and doesn't happen. But for the people that stay disciplined and keep going, you only quit or you only fail when you quit, right? So might as well keep trying, especially if you're young in your 20s, even 30s now, like 30s are still young nowadays. It's changing. So don't be afraid. Change your mindset, and who knows? Instead of looking at everything in a negative, some good stuff might start happening when you're a yes man, like Jim Carrey was in that movie.
It's so true, man, because if you always have that mindset that I can accomplish anything I want to do, it becomes reality because you believe it. So then you work towards it. But if you're always like counting yourself out and saying, oh, that'll never be me, or man, those guys are so lucky, their parents paid for everything, and that's the only reason they have their success. And you create like these fake narratives in your head, and you become so toxic and you don't even realize it. It's like in society, that's normal. So yeah, discipline's everything. Your mindset's everything. And I want to talk about this. I want to talk about teamwork, right? Because you can go really fast when you're by yourself. But if you really want to go far, you have to bring other people with you. So, Mike, what does teamwork and collaboration mean for you?
Oh, it's everything, man. Like you said it yourself. Doing something by yourself can only get you so far. You can only be in one place at a time. Even in, YouTube. Like, yeah, you might make clones, but if you don't have anybody actually pushing your brand or your message or what you have going on, then where are you really gonna get? But playing hockey my whole life was big on teamwork and working together as a team. So it's all about what happens in preseason. Those summer months of doing dry land training, and it's doing the stuff that you don't want to do. So that way, when you get to the fun things like the big game, you're ready. You're locked in. You know what you have to do. You know how to get there just because you did the hard, crappy work then months ago. So that way, now it's the fruits of your labor. You just get to enjoy the wins and the crowd cheering and, you know, exactly like Kobe mindset, that Mamba mentality, up at 4 a.m. making however many free throws he made. But yeah, Paul, I know your military experience is going to be great for this, so I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, teamwork is something that you don't really have a choice but to adopt when you're in the military, right? And it's really interesting because you see how positively you can affect people in a team mentality. You also see how you can affect your team whenever you're always negative, right? So I know you guys have probably seen the memes on social media where it's like you'll have a strawberry that's perfectly good, but then you have another rotten strawberry right next to it, and the only part of that good strawberry that's gone rotten is the part that's touching the rotten strawberry. In a negative mindset is the same way. It's the same thing as strawberries. If you have somebody that's on your team that's negative and they're always bringing everybody down and making people feel weird because they always have something negative to say, that's going to bring down your team's work ethic, their discipline, their motivation. All of that's going to drop because you have one bad egg. So I'd say number one, you have to address those negative, I call them negative Nancy's. Whenever they come into your life immediately, you have to cut that out, right? Either you have to have a conversation with that person and say, hey, dude, you got to cut it out or you're not a part of this team. And if they don't, you have to let them go. Otherwise, it's gonna poison the amazing teamwork that you built with the people that are positive, right? And they'll start to change very quickly. It happens faster than you'd think. So from my military background, man, it was always the guys that were like complaining. They would always be like, man, I don't want to be here. Why do I have to do this? Blah, blah, blah. And then you catch yourself talking like them too. You copy them because you're around them for so often. Sometimes it's, 12 to 24 hours at a time. So I was taught at a very, very early age, at a very early point in my career, that like, dude, if somebody's negative, just if you can get away from them, just get away from them. Go do your own thing. Go get motivated. Like I know it's tough, right? Especially when you're working with somebody because you have to listen to their input. You have to listen to their ideas and what they want to do. But you can also try to be that positive piece in it. You can try to steer them in a different direction. And I found that sometimes that really helps. So teamwork has to be your main priority whenever you have a team mentality moving forward.